Alrighty, so a few days ago, I sent out a email to my newsletter, seeing what sort of questions you guys had that I can just answer, quick fire questions. So I thought I'd make a quick video about it since I did get quite a few. So we have a question here from Zlu. Do you use or recommend any supplements for tanning? Or store-bought conventional eggs are the only option available for me. How bad are they really? And which is the best type of kitchen pan to use? So the first question was, any supplements do I use or recommend for tanning? I don't actually use anything for tanning, obviously besides the sun. So basically just increasing your overall sun exposure incrementally day by day so that you can stay out all day, for 8 hours under the bright, hot, Greek or Australian sun or whatever it may be. You want to build up that solar callus. If you are going to use supplements or anything like that, I would probably recommend using a supplement called astaxanthin, which is a naturally derived, basically a form of vitamin A, and it's going to help protect yourself from UV damage or protect your skin from UV damage, and it's also going to give you like a little bit of a red kind of glow. It is the compound that gives, salmon and krill that red color, and it's just the pure version of that. It's called astaxanthin. If you do want to look that up, you can buy it for yourself. But I haven't used that for some time now. I have dabbled with it in the past. It doesn't make too big of a difference, honestly. The next one, maybe not so much a supplement, but I do always use coconut oil when I'm out in the sun. You might be able to even see it on me now. It gives you a little bit of a shine, and it does protect you a little bit from the sun. It's got a small SPF of, I believe it's 4. But the main thing it's going to do, though, it's mainly saturated fat. It is going to help protect you from the sun. It's going to hydrate the skin and make sure the skin is nice and healthy. It's never going to be dry or anything like that. It's going to be nice and healthy all the time and nice and hydrated. The next question was, conventional eggs are the only option available for me. I almost kind of doubt that. You probably just haven't gone and looked hard enough or looked in the right places. I'd recommend hitting up any sort of farmer's market in your area. I can find locally produced eggs no matter really where I am in the world. You just kind of have to know where to look. So a good place to look is obviously farmers markets, or even just when you're driving around the countryside, you'll probably see chickens or like farms and things like that. And you can just literally just pull in there and have a chat to the farmer. Hopefully you speak the same language, and then you can just ask them, hey, do you have any eggs that I can buy? And chances are they might be able to help you out or at least point you in the right direction. Regarding to how bad they actually are, they're obviously still going to be overall a net positive for your health, but they're going to be much higher in linoleic acid and much higher in a lot of other toxins that can accumulate in the fat inside the yolk in the egg. So a good way to sort of tell if the eggs are high quality is the color of the yolk. The lower quality sort of eggs are going to have that bright yellow kind of color, and then the really nutrient dense yolks are going to be more of that deep orange. But that isn't like a perfect litmus test that you can always use, because now people are feeding their chickens things like astaxanthin to help color, or even cayenne pepper and things like that, to help color the yolks to make them look more red and make them look healthier, when the chickens themselves are still being fed, corn and soy and things like that, and they're not actually getting a appropriate diet. So the next question was, best type of kitchen pan to use. It depends on the use case, what you're trying to do. But the jack of all trades is basically the stainless steel pan, and a high quality stainless steel pan. It's basically non-toxic. Nothing's going to leach into your food. It's extremely versatile. You can use it cooking basically anything. You can sear a steak with it. You can cook eggs. You can do all that sort of stuff. The main issue people have with stainless steel pans is that it sticks, but this is literally just a skill issue. What you want to do is heat the pan up until it's nice and hot, and then you can throw water on it to see if it's hot enough. And if the water turns into little beads on the pan and they start dancing around the pan, that's when you know it's hot enough. Then you can add the oil and then add whatever it is you are cooking, and it will now act like a non-stick sort of pan without all the toxic PFAs or BPAs leaching into your actual food. Another great option I also do use is a cast iron pan, and this is what I use basically just for searing and cooking steak or cooking red meat. It gets really, really, really hot, and you can get an amazing sear on your steaks or on any other type of red meat that you are cooking. So I'd recommend stainless steel and cast iron for the best types of pan to use. You'll be able to find stainless steel and cast iron basically anywhere in the world. The main thing is just trying to stay away from non-stick pans as much as possible so you don't have all of those toxins leaching into your food. The next question here was from Keegan, and he had a few questions about how to sub body wash and deodorant with some natural or God-given alternatives. Hope this helps. Thanks, Keegan. So basically, what to sub out for the toxic, chemical goy slop body wash that's now prevalent basically everywhere in the world nowadays is you can just get handmade olive oil soaps. So there's a really good one that ships, I think worldwide, is by Coastbrah, and it's from the website Soul Sense. It's a very high quality olive oil soap, or you can just find locally handmade ones from farmers markets, things like that. I was just in Turkey, a few weeks ago, and there is handmade soaps absolutely everywhere, so it's very, very easy, and they're readily available to pick up. Or you can go to like an olive oil store, places that sell fancy olive oils and things like that, and you'll be able to get olive oil soaps there as well. So I got some in Greece just a few days ago from an olive oil store in particular. And deodorant, honestly, I don't really use any deodorant. When you're not accumulating toxins in your body and you're not constantly ingesting toxins, your sweat isn't actually going to smell bad because you're not expelling all these toxins via sweat. You're not using that detox pathway to try get so much things out of you. So you're actually not going to smell that bad at all. You're just going to have that natural musk or that natural pheromones that, is actually a net positive, having that natural scent, not smelling like something out of a bottle, not like some soy chemicals out of a bottle that is going to make you smelling super fruity and tooty. You don't really want any of that. You're going to smell fine anyway. You're not going to have BO or anything like that if you are living in aligned with the natural world and you're not ingesting chemical toxins, all day, every day. You'll be absolutely fine. You won't need any deodorant. The next question here I have from Kate. So any suggestions on bloating would be good. Basically, the main cause and the main issue with bloating is obviously digestive issues, right? And it's a big indicator that you are having digestive issues if there is any bloating present in your day-to-day life. And it really shouldn't be a thing at all. So basically, you need to address what are you actually eating. Obviously, you're not digesting it properly. And as you may know, digestion starts in the mouth, so you want to make sure you're chewing your food very thoroughly until it's basically liquid in your mouth before you swallow it. And that's going to ease the digestion process. Make sure you mix saliva all in with the food before you swallow it, and it's going to make digesting this food so much easier, and you're more likely to experience no more digestive discomfort, things like bloating, any of that sort of distress. So I'd probably address that first, how much you're actually chewing your food, and then I'd be addressing actually what food are you eating. Obviously, if you're having a lot of alcohol, if you're having carbonated soda pop and things like that all the time, you're going to be getting bloating and stomach discomfort. It's simply because the foods you're eating are indigestible, or they're not very easily digestible by the body. So I'd be more switching to animal-based, any sort of natural whole food alternative. Maybe looking at fermenting foods and things like that as well. Grains and vegetables do also cause a lot of bloating because it's very hard to actually digest them. So if you are going to go with grains, I'd recommend sprouting them. Or if you're going to go with vegetables, I'd recommend fermenting them before actually eating them. And then you're going to run into a lot less bloating or stomach discomfort. The next question here, carb timing for entrepreneurs avoiding energy crashes during the week and depleted energy due to forgoing for too long. That's from Stephen. Basically, Stephen, if you are crashing from carbs, there's probably a different sort of issue at hand, not just the carbs itself. Obviously, assuming that you're eating high quality whole foods, I'd be addressing your overall recovery, central nervous system fatigue, things like that. That is actually causing this massive dip in energy. If you're seeing it consistently, there's a deeper root cause thing that may need to be addressed. In a perfect world where all of that stuff is fine and you are just experiencing crashes from carbs, I'd recommend timing your carbs obviously around high areas of movement, and more in particular high intensity movement like your training bouts in the gym and things like that, and just be timing it around that training window. So just before, maybe like an hour, 2 hours before your training, obviously during your training, and then maybe around an hour, 2 hours after your training as well. Around that window, that's where you want to be having around, like, say 70% of your carbohydrates for the day. And then around the rest of the day, you can be having some things like raw milk, a little bit of fruit here and there, and some honey and things like that. But majority of your carbs should be coming around that, training window or that high intensity activity window. Hope that helps, Stephen. And one last one here. We have a few here from Juan. Is this the leanest you've ever been? No, definitely not. I've been a lot leaner before. This is, lean-ish. Uh, I'm not really trying to get as lean as humanly possible. Once you do get to the lower single-digit sort of body fats, you start to experience a lot of hormonal sort of issues and things like that. And the main goal of this whole thing is to try be as healthy as possible, not to try be as lean as possible or look as good as possible. It's just to try be as healthy as possible, and that's really the whole philosophy that I teach: is just try be as healthy as possible, and then a good, lean physique is going to be a natural byproduct of that. Thoughts on bulking? That kind of ties into the last thing that I was saying, is we're trying to be as healthy as possible. Force feeding food to on purpose put on fat doesn't sound very healthy to me. I don't think it's actually necessary at all if you're looking to try be healthy. Obviously, if you're trying to be a bodybuilder, things may change and you may be looking at doing bulking and then cutting, but obviously your health is going to suffer as a consequence from that. But if you're trying to be as healthy as possible, I definitely recommend not bulking. I'd be wanting to get, like, say I was training a guy and he was wanting to be as healthy as possible and he was a little bit overweight, say something like 20% body fat. We'd first be looking at getting him, insulin sensitive, nice and healthy, around somewhere like 10 to 12% body fat, nice and lean and strong, and then slowly build muscle from there, which can, of course, be done. And it's very easy to do when you start aligning, your whole life around these 6 main pillars of your health, which is obviously your training and hormones, your nutrition, your mindset, your recovery, your environment, and the last thing is community. So when you use all of those 6 things together in synchronicity, you're really going to unlock that true health, and then that great physique is going to be a natural byproduct. The next question is, do you count calories and or macros? No, definitely not. Do you measure your foods? Thoughts on the scale? Again, no, I do not. Even when I was competing in bodybuilding, I still do not count macros and measure foods and things like that. It's just bug getting attacked by the vegan bugs. They're sending them. Klaus Schwab is sending sand beetles. There it is. It's a WEF plant to try to interfere with this video. Do you measure your foods? Thoughts on the scale? No, I do not. Even when competing in bodybuilding, getting super lean, you still don't need to count calories and measure foods and things like that. It's just simply not necessary. Your body and your health isn't a science. It's not math. It's not calculations. It's more so getting in tune with how your body actually functions and aligning it with the natural world so you can look and perform your best. Do you meditate? Yes, here and there I do meditate at certain times. I don't necessarily meditate so much anymore, especially not in the general sense of things, where you sit down for 20 minutes in the morning and just focus on your breath and all external things are gone. I'm also just meditate slowly throughout the day, like micro meditations, like for 10 seconds at a time. Just putting the phone down and, again, bringing awareness to the body, to your external feelings, to the breath and things like that. Doing these micro meditations throughout the day rather than sitting down for 20 minutes at the start or at the end of the day and doing a meditation session. I don't necessarily do that anymore. Okay, so this one here is how to ratify new healthy habits and how to eradicate old ones. So this is a big one that a lot of guys do struggle with, and a lot of guys that I work with do struggle with. And you basically just need to break down what your goal actually is. So say your goal is to get, extremely good at chess, right? Your goal is to be as good at chess as possible, but you spend all of your time, water skiing. You need to think, does this habit align with my goal? Does doing more water skiing help me get to my goal of being extremely great at chess? Chances are probably not. There's not a lot of crossover in that regard. So you want to make sure every sort of action that you're doing and all the habits that you have in place are actually aligning with whatever your goal may be. Obviously for a lot of the guys I work with, it's about optimizing their health and maximizing their vitality, getting their dream body, making sure they look and feel their best all the time, and teaching them the ways to do that, long term. So things that we look at putting in place is just removing everything that doesn't serve their main goal. So it could be removing things like hanging out with people that aren't supportive of what you're actually looking to achieve. People that encourage you to go, drinking alcohol on the weekends in exorbitant amounts. The guys that you always hang out with, and maybe smoke some weed and then you go and get McDonald's every time. Obviously these sort of situations If you just remove yourself from that situation, it's much less likely to happen. And then you got to, again, think a level deeper, is why am I putting myself in this situation? Do I actually really want my goal, or am I more comfortable staying the same where nothing ever changes? But at least I know, I didn't fail because I never actually tried. But if you do try and you do actually go for whatever the goal may be, you need to fully commit to it, and that way you can never really fail. If you truly try 100% to achieve something, you will never fail because you will continue trying until you succeed. You only ever fail when you completely stop and you give up and you quit. So basically, you just want to identify which habits are helping you get to your goal, which habits are not, and then just start to do more of the habits that are going to help you and do less of the ones that aren't. And it sounds very simple because it is. So that's what I would start to do in your situation, Juan. And then last question here for the day is your favorite bodybuilder. I'd probably say physique wise, probably Steve Reeves. He probably has the best, flow, that real classic look of his physique. Obviously nice and lean, but not ridiculously lean like modern bodybuilders. Physique wise, I'd probably say Steve Reeves. The most maybe inspirational one was probably, Ronnie Coleman. Back in the day, I'd always watch old Ronnie Coleman training videos. I just loved the intensity he always brought to the gym. Obviously how ridiculously massive he was and how he still worked as a cop the whole time, even when he was a professional bodybuilder. So probably Ronnie Coleman was the biggest inspiration, and physique wise was probably Steve Reeves, like I said. So that, there's quite a lot more questions, but I'm not going to get through all of them today. So maybe we'll have to do another video where I go through some more ones. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope I answered some of your questions, and I will be seeing you guys on the next video.